You know, I've never had much time for people who like to knock our own performers, usually just because they're Australian. Personally speaking, nothing gives me more pleasure than to see local artists getting the success that they deserve. And that goes double for our guest tonight, who happens to be a very good friend of mine. She's really a tremendous performer, and she recorded this number in England just before she returned home recently. I hope it's going to be a big hit. I know it will. Ladies and gentlemen, with favorite model girl, Miss Lorrae Desmond.
She walked the streets of Liverpool. Her real name I can't repeat. That's not cool. But you'll know her in a while, 'cause that's what the public will buy. She captured what it was to be young, her face inspired every song that's been sung nowadays. But she's no butterfly, confidence is in her eye. Hey, she wants to be everybody's favorite model girl, everybody's favorite model girl, everybody's one and only favorite model girl. She packed her bags and came to the smoke lonely town. She scrambled off the train, she was broke, feeling down. But she knew just where to go, the Chelsea Flower Show. All the ladies there were dressed to kill. Our baby caused the show to come to a standstill. But everybody laughed at her, except a smart photographer. He said to her, you could be everybody's favorite model girl. You could be everybody's favorite model girl. You could be everybody's one and only favorite model girl. Well, the papers in the morning showed her photograph. People stared and said, my, she's a laugh. But gradually she won, and now she represents the sun. Hey, she is everybody's favorite model girl. Everybody's favorite model girl. She is everybody's one and only favorite model girl. Next time you're found with your chin in the ground, there's a lot to be learned, so look around. Just what makes that little old ant think he'll move that rubber tree plant? Anyone knows an ant can't move a rubber tree plant, but he's got high hopes. He's got high hopes. He's got high apple pie in the sky. So anytime you're getting low, instead of letting go, just remember that ant. Whoops, there goes another rubber tree plant.
Oops, there goes another rubber tree plant.
Oops, there goes another rubber tree plant. When troubles call and your back's to the wall, there's a lot to be learned. That wall could fall. Once there was a silly old ram, thought he'd punch a hole in a dam. No one could make that ram scram. He kept butting that dam 'cause he had high hopes. He had high hopes. He had high apple pie in the sky. So anytime you're feeling bad, instead of feeling sad, just remember that ram. Whoops, there goes a billion kilowatt dam.
There goes a billion kilowatt dam.
Whoops, there goes a billion kilowatt dam. So keep your high hopes. Keep those high hopes. Keep those high apple pie in the sky. A problem's just a toy balloon. They'll be bursting soon. They're just bound to go pop. Whoops, there goes another problem kerplop.
There goes another problem kerplop.
Whoops, there goes another problem kerplop. Kerplop.
Miss Lorrae Desmond to sing the beautiful ballad from Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Moon River, wider than a mile, I'm crossing you in style someday. Old dream
a very pretty dress. I've discovered that the ladies who watch the show, and probably some of the gentlemen too, are curious about colors. It is green. Is it any special kind of green?
Tis emerald green.
Oh, it is it? I see.
It's a bit of Irish coming out of me, I think.
And it is very, very pretty.
Yes, it is. I love those kinds of dresses. It looks so
Do you know
nice
what?
on
They're
you.
comfortable.
I know they are. It's amazing.
People don't believe this. They say you can't be comfortable and sit in something like that. Sitting in something like this isn't quite so comfortable, but standing is fine, isn't it?
It looks lovely.
They probably help to hold you up, don't they?
Sort of. Well, I must say she holds it up very well.
I hope so, yeah. Where were you born, Lorrae? Are you English originally?
No, I was born in a little town called Mittagong
In what part of the
in
world?
Australia. And this is an Aboriginal name for spring water, I think. Something disgusting like that.
Are there spring waters nearby?
I didn't see any.
Ah.
Scary.
I only have one.
I know. It's lovely. It's a
Kangaroo.
A kangaroo.
With a little jelly
Very
in its
attractive.
pouch.
That's right. Right in here, this little thing dangling here.
Excuse me, friend, but
No, it's just worth noting. There it is.
And funnily enough, you know,
do they call those wallabies? Are those wallabies?
No, this is a kangaroo, but wallabies are like kangaroos, only a little bit smaller.
Oh, I see. I've always wondered.
And I can't tell the difference, really. Suppose you could tell if you had carried a tape measure around with you or something, but to me a wallaby looks like a kangaroo, I suppose.
Except to wallabies and kangaroos, it probably doesn't really matter a great deal whether one can distinguish them or not. Our program, as I happen to mention to you backstage, is now being seen in Australia, so a great many of your friends are no doubt seeing you at this moment.
Oh.
What is comedy like in Australia? That's a question which would, I suppose, rightly take a week to answer, but are there comedians like, say, is there an Australian Bob Hope and that sort of thing?
Do you think there's anybody else like Bob Hope?
Well, no, but I mean even a rough equivalent.
Do you know, this is a very hard thing to answer. I don't think there is. There was a very wonderful Australian comedian called Roy Reen who died a few years ago, and he was different to anybody I've ever seen. He was to Australia what Bob Hope is to America, I
In
suppose.
importance.
In importance, not in style in any way. He was a clown. But I don't honestly think there is a real comedian in Australia of the type
Of the
that
American
you're
type.
speaking of. There are now going a lot of very fine television compares, and I believe you had a friend of mine on last night who did a lot of television
Oh,
in
Digby
Australia.
Wolf.
Digby Wolf.
Yes, yes, very clever.
He
yes.
is great on television.
Yes, he mentioned
But
your
he was
name.
mainly a compere on television in Australia, and a very fine one, very successful.
I'm trying to say I don't know what that word means in this
Oh,
context.
compere means to host a show,
I see, I see,
to be master of ceremonies.
I see. I've just recalled one of the people who mentioned you to me when we were in Honolulu just recently. We met Douglas Campbell. Is it Douglas?
Donald.
Donald Campbell, I'm sorry. He's the man who... I'm going to sneeze.
Oh. Oh. Here's a knife.
I believe everything is worth doing, it's worth doing well. None of these little sneezes that people... A man's man of a sneeze. Anyway.
Got a cough.
No, I'm sorry. Good health to all of you out there.
Oh,
I'm sorry about that unseemly... yes, Mr. Campbell breaks world's records for sneezing and coughing. No, he has a boat and a car in which he regularly breaks every bone in his body. Actually, he's had some terrible accidents, but he also breaks some world's records.
His wife gave me this little kangaroo, funnily enough. She is a cabaret performer, too.
Yes.
And,
Very, very charming lady. What's her first name again?
Tonya Byrne.
Tanya. Yes.
But Donald, this last attempt he did for the, well, that he got, you know, this land speed record, was done on Lake Eyre. I don't suppose you've ever been there.
No.
It is like landing on the moon. And you're going to get there in a little private plane.
In Australia?
And, yes, and it's just the middle of nowhere, about 120 degrees,
Good
no trees, flies, so that you have to wear hats with corks hanging off them to
It's Palm
keep the
Springs.
flies. Is it really? But no people.
Oh.
No people, just salt.
Do you know
Miles of salt.
Rod Taylor?
I haven't met him, no.
I was very fond of him. I did one of the first shows that he ever did in this country, and he was telling me a lot about Australia at that time. Very nice fellow.
He's been here a long time now.
Yes, he has.
Speaking of Mr. Campbell's cars, I just noticed that the card here, we received, as usual, a number of cards from our audience. It's from Ruth Miller of Santa Monica, and she wants me to convey, or to forward this, I should say, to someone in the audience. It's a printed card, which you, I guess, leave under somebody's windshield, at the appropriate